Have you ever looked at someone else's life and felt small? They have a bigger house, a better job, a happier family. And you, no matter how hard you try, still feel far behind. It's like staring into a distorted mirror, where the reflection is never the truth. But here's a secret: true happiness does not live in that mirror. Long ago, there was a craftsman who lived in a small village. He was hardworking and honest, yet his life was simple and poor. Every day, when he looked toward his neighbor's house, filled with laughter inside a grand home, his heart grew heavy with sadness. Why do they have everything while I have nothing? The question haunted him night after night. He believed that if only he had what they had, surely he would be happier. One day, unable to keep his thoughts inside, he went to see the village sage. Kneeling down, the craftsman said with a trembling voice, "Master, why am I always less than others? Why can't I be as happy as they are?" The sage did not answer right away. Instead, he led the craftsman to a large marketplace where many mirrors were displayed. First, he placed him before a magnificent mirror, framed with shining gold. Looking into it, the craftsman saw himself as small, poor, and worthless. His head lowered, his heart heavy. Next, the sage brought him to an old, cracked mirror, covered with dust. In it, his image was warped, twisted, so much so that he hardly recognized himself. Startled, he whispered, "Is that really me?" Finally, the sage placed him before a plain, clear mirror with no decoration at all. The craftsman looked and saw himself. No distortion, no disguise, just a simple man with calloused hands, but honest and real. The sage smiled. "You have stood before 3 mirrors. Each gave you a different image, but only one reflected the truth." The craftsman stood in silence. For the first time, he began to realize perhaps his suffering did not come from life itself, but from the mirror he chose to look into. The sage spoke gently. "You see, all this time, you have not suffered because you lacked something. You have suffered because you chose mirrors that do not reflect the truth." He paused, looking deeply into the craftsman's eyes. "When you looked into the golden mirror, you saw yourself as smaller than others. In the cracked mirror, you saw yourself as broken and worthless. But in the clear mirror, you saw your true self, no more, no less. Honest, complete, in your own way." Then his voice grew steady, carrying across the air. People often get trapped in comparison. They keep looking into the lives of others, believing that is the measure of happiness. But happiness never comes from being like them. It only comes when you live in the rhythm of your own life. The craftsman bowed his head, a strange feeling rising in his heart. For so long, he believed he was unhappy because he was not like his neighbor. But now, he understood. His unhappiness did not come from what he lacked. It came from the way he chose to see himself. The story of the mirrors is not far from our own lives. Today, we too look at ourselves through countless mirrors. Some look into the mirror of work. The higher the title, the bigger the salary, the more valuable they feel. But soon they realize there will always be someone higher, someone earning more. That mirror never gives them a sense of enough. Some look into the mirror of family and expectations. They feel like failures if they don't own a big house, a fancy car, or send their children to prestigious schools. And so, the reflection in the mirror shows only a person worn out and anxious. Some look into the mirror of age. They think at 30 they must have a career, at 40 they must be stable, at 50 they must live in comfort. If they fall behind, they believe they are worthless. But all these mirrors are distorted. They only give false images, never the truth. True happiness is not found in the mirrors of others, but in finding the clear mirror, where you see yourself and accept your own journey. The craftsman stood still for a long time, holding the sage's words in his heart. For years, he had lived in the shadows of comparison, condemning himself. Now, for the first time, he saw himself through the clear mirror, not rich, not radiant, but honest and enough. He returned to his small home and sat by the fire. It no longer looked poor to him. It looked warm in its own way, and for the first time, he smiled. A smile that came from within. Life has never been fair in comparison, but it is always whole in your own journey. Happiness does not come from being more or less. It comes from the peace of accepting who you are. So do not look at yourself in the mirrors of others. Find the clear mirror, where you see yourself, and know that is enough to be happy. If this story has given you even a moment of peace, share it. And walk with Life Motivation Tales, where small stories awaken great strength within you.